Original post, May 18, 2024. I just need a place to let this out. Last week, I, 29 female, caught my husband Jack, 30 male, cheating on me with his stepsister Claire, 24 female. I went out with a friend last Saturday and planned to stay at her house. Jack didn't want to be alone all night, so he said he'd just go hang out with his stepsister. They've always been close, and they ended up going to a bar. I was feeling unwell and just wanted my bed, so I decided to get an Uber and head home. I was not expecting to walk in on them having sex on the couch. I literally threw up on the floor by the front door. They told me they were drunk and it just kind of happened. I screamed at them both to leave. Jack refused to leave and refused to sleep on the couch, so I ended up leaving anyways and went back to my friends. I am still in shock that he actually slept with Claire. I think I'm going to file for a divorce. I am so overwhelmed and uncomfortable. Has anyone else gone through this? Please message me if so. I feel very alone and confused. Also, do I tell their parents that's why we're going to get a divorce? I've been isolating myself a lot because of this. Relevant comments. Comment 1. I'm guessing this wasn't the first time. I'm sorry up. Please don't hesitate to tell people why you are divorcing so he doesn't have the opportunity to paint you as the bad guy. Comment 2. Wow. I am so sorry OP, definitely tell their parents. I'm curious, how long have they been step-siblings? OP. Their parents got married when he was 10 and she was 4, it makes me kind of sick that they've been in each other's lives since they were young and could actually do this. They've always said they consider themselves as full siblings, so this is really disturbing. Comment 3. They probably said that to throw you off. Sorry, they've probably been doing this for a very long time. Comment 4. I agree. I feel like something like this doesn't just happen after so many years of living as siblings. It may have been going on for a while, but what worries me is since when? There is a 6-year age difference here. Even if they did wait until she was 18, he'd be 24, just the fact that he could look at her as anything other than his bratty little sister is very disturbing and concerning. So run, sounds like way too much to deal with that is not your responsibility. Comment 5. You think? Even ignoring the stepsister element, he took a girl into your home knowing you wouldn't be there to have sex with her. I'm going to bet is not the first time something like this happened. Get proof, lawyer up, and tell the family. Comment 6. If they have been step-siblings since ages 10 and 4, not only would I expect them to see each other as siblings, I'd also expect him to see her as his little sister. When he hit puberty, she would have just been 7 years old, and it strikes me as kind of predatory for him to see her sexually, even if they are both consenting adults now, because that attraction wouldn't just have randomly developed after all this time. It would have been there, acted upon or not, for many years, likely while he was an adult and she was still a minor. Update 1, May 23, 2024. I wanted more information on how long it's been going on and at what age it started, so I decided to text Claire. I told her I wouldn't tell anyone if she answered my questions. She agreed to tell me everything. I asked her when they first had sex. At first, she told me it was their first time, but I told her I'm not believing that. She then confessed that their first time was right before she turned 18. I am so disgusted and extremely concerned. Then I asked her if it's still been happening since then, and she said no. She explained that they did it when she was 17, and never did it again until last week. I don't think I can trust her though. She also told me that Jack is the one who initiated sex, but who knows if that's the truth. It very well could be though. Jack and I have been together for 5 years, married for 2. We were going to start trying for a baby soon, so I'm crushed. I wasted so many years of my life with this man. I don't know who he even is right now. I lied to Claire though. I 100% planned on telling their parents. Some of you say that it would be wrong to do so, but because it happened when she was 17, I felt like they needed to know, and deal with it however they choose. They didn't believe me at first, until I showed them the screenshots of my and Claire's conversation. They still seem to be in denial a little bit. I don't blame them though. I told them I was filing for divorce and that I was moving on with my life. They gave me a hug and said they'd speak to both of them, but I told my mother-in-law that I didn't want to know anything else, and to please let me live in peace. She's going to respect that. I more than likely won't have more updates, but I wanted everyone to know that I'm for sure getting a divorce and going to find a therapist because I'm depressed and need the support to move on. Thank you to everyone who was kind and gave me advice and support. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Good luck to you. I wish you nothing but the best. Does Jack feel any remorse at all? OP. Nope. He's being very cold towards me and refuses to leave the house, so I've been staying with my friend. Comment 2. Also, if sex happened at 17, then there had to be significant grooming leading up to it. Contrary to what Pornhub would have us believe, step-siblings don't just suddenly decide to boink for laughs. Comment 3. Don't leave the house. That can be thought of as abandoned property. Get an attorney. One who specializes in nasty divorces. You want a shark for this. Ask for the divorce record to be kept private, or not, if you want to be able to refer people to court notes. Engage a therapist. Not because you need one right now, but because, trust me, there will be days when you will. Separate bank accounts. Take your name off of the joint ones after your lawyer tells you to. Have your official documents somewhere safe: driver's license, social security card, house note, car notes, spare money, and bank vault stuff. Comment 4. I know people are saying you told the parents out of petty revenge, but I think you were right to tell them. Who knows what your husband would have told his parents about the reasons for the divorce, in order to hide his own wrongdoings. He might have started telling them, and others, that it was you who cheated. Believe me, I've seen it happen. It's important that you set the record straight. Comment 5. I'm weirdly proud of you. That took such courage, and you handled it with incredible dignity. I wish you well as you start to pick up the pieces. I know this is the furthest thing from your mind, but one day you'll meet someone who will make you glad you left Jack. Story 2. I've known about my husband's affair for years, and it has made me bitter and angry. Original post, June 9, 2024. My husband of 5 years has been sleeping with another woman. I found out 3 years ago and have never told anyone, not even him, that I know what has been happening. When I found out, I was very upset. I couldn't eat, sleep, or even function like a normal human for weeks. I wanted to scream at him and kick him out of my life forever. But the same weekend I found out, he gave me a gift. It was a necklace with our son's name engraved in it, and he thanked me for being a good mother and an even more supportive wife. I couldn't say anything after that, so I just pretended like I never saw anything. But now I'm starting to realize just how much this affair is affecting me. I notice how he returns home late from work every day. How he hides his phone away from me when he's texting. The secret phone calls. And I can't help but be mean to him now. Anytime he asks me for something, I just ignore him and pretend I can't hear. If he requests something specific to eat, I purposefully won't make it. I feel like such a terrible person for treating him like that, but then I remember how much he is hurting me. I know the affair is still ongoing, that much is obvious. I can't bring it in me to leave him. I don't know if it's because of my son or if there's some other underlying reason, I haven't quite figured out yet. But I've become this angry and bitter person just waiting for the day he plucks up the courage to leave our family for that woman. What's worse is I allow him to be intimate with me despite what I know. Because even though I hate him for what he's doing behind my back, I still care about him. And it doesn't help that he's an amazing father. Despite his cheating, he treats me well. Perhaps I've convinced myself he still loves me even though he sleeps with another woman, he's just using her for sexual gratification and nothing more. But I don't think that's enough anymore. Relevant comments. Comment 1. Is it possible that you are mad at yourself in some way? I'm concerned that you have devalued yourself in your own eyes. You have allowed him to treat you appallingly and you deserve better. OP, it's possible. I look back and wish I had said something when I found out. I was just being naive back then, thinking maybe he would realize I was the better option if I tried harder. It was easier to pretend because I thought I could change his mind. Comment 2. You stay because it's comfortable and you are afraid to do it alone. You'll be surprised how much better you'll feel after you leave and face life alone. OP, I guess this is true. There's nothing more uncomfortable than change. We've been together for 12 years. I always imagined my life with him. I never saw anyone or anything else in my future. Certainly not the possibility of being a single mom. Maybe you're correct, I'm scared to do this alone. I wasn't a good mom when I first had my son because of PPD. I don't want the neglectful part of me to resurface if I'm on my own. What if the only reason I've been holding it together is because of my husband? I'd have no support if I left. If I do leave, he could use my behavior when our son was born against me, and I'll never see my baby again. Update 1, June 17, 2024. I've been so overcome with emotion since I made my post. I never intended to make an update, which is why I uploaded it anonymously. I just needed some kind of outlet for my resentment towards my husband. I didn't expect it to get any interaction, I just assumed it would go under the radar like many posts do. But in reading the comments on that post, it feels like I've woken up from a horrible and reoccurring nightmare. I only wish I had someone to tell me these things sooner. I was too busy pitying myself that I put my misery above protecting my son from the potential trauma he could develop. I was being a terrible mother, as some comments have suggested. Or maybe they haven't, and I've just read them that way because it's how I've been feeling on the inside. I'm still figuring things out, as you can see. I'm doing it. I'm ending my marriage. I've been discussing it with the divorce lawyer and it's looking pretty good for me. I don't want to say too much on that in case he somehow finds this post. The other woman is a friend of his apparently. I confronted him and he admitted it. And for those who guessed it, he did know I found out about the affair 3 years ago. I suspect the necklace was a gesture for him to seem less interested in his affair partner. Or maybe to ease his guilt. He never confirmed that. I found out about the affair through accidental snooping on his phone. I had to get a new phone and some of the phone numbers didn't transfer for some reason, so I was finding our mutual contacts to let them know my number had changed. He saved her as Alan Word, but some texts came through that didn't sound like something a co-worker would say. I went through the messages after he went to bed, and the flirting went as far back as 6 years ago, but the intimacy began 3 years ago. Anyway, it's time to put me and my son first. He's 3, so I hope he is young enough that I haven't screwed up his entire perception of what love and marriage looks like. I know I need to work on myself too. My dependency issues, confidence, and just how I view myself overall. It's difficult for me because I have no support. I'm completely alone throughout this whole process. I only have my friends and they're busy with their own families and lives that I don't want to burden them with my issues. I have no siblings and I don't even know who my dad is. My mom took her own life when I was 16, and my grandparents were estranged from my mother before I was even born. From the age of 18 until now, my husband was all I had. I guess I was blinded by my desperation to give my son the family I never had, and I ended up sacrificing my own happiness. Can you tell I've been going to therapy? I will be staying at my mom's house, just waiting for the divorce proceedings to begin. I inherited it after she passed and had been renting it for some extra cash. I'm going to be for my son what I never had. He'll always have me, I don't care who else enters our lives, I'm going to be his constant. Sometimes it takes a bunch of strangers on the internet calling you out on your cowardice for you to wake up. I always dreamed of having one of those big, tight-knit families that spend every holiday and birthday together. That's something I might never have, but I would sacrifice that any day for my baby to grow up in a healthy environment. He won't have the same messed up views as me. I also owe everyone that commented a huge amount of gratitude. Had I not made the post, I would probably be stuck in a loveless and toxic marriage. I hope you know that you may have saved my life. I was spiraling so far down that I didn't even realize my mental health was impacted to the point I contemplated taking my own life several times in the past year. I only had one reason to live, and I could feel it gradually slipping from my grasp every day. I would have just repeated the cowardly way out that I saw growing up. I want to make a vow to you all now. I will never leave my son without a mother. He won't suffer like I did. His happiness will always be my priority. I will work on my mental health so I can be the mother he deserves. And no matter what my feelings are towards his father, I will never interfere or prevent them from having a relationship, unless of course, it is necessary for me to do so. He is all I have now and I refuse to make him feel like loving him is a burden. I'm breaking that cycle. I've never seen stability, so it's hard for me to imitate. But I don't want him to look back in 27 years and have to learn what that looks like alone, so I'm going to do my absolute hardest to improve until I can become his vision of a healthy and stable person. I know this is probably not the update you were expecting, but it is all I can really say at this point. I don't plan on updating this ever again, so I hope that you're all pleased with how things have turned out. Much love and best wishes, a reborn and single mother to a gorgeous 3-year-old baby. Relevant comments. Comment 1, tell your friends. Let them decide if they want to help you. OP, they know what is happening and have reached out a few times since, but I'm just hesitant because my friends are also close with my husband as we've known them since we first got together. I just don't want anyone to feel like I'm preventing them from being friends with him. I had friends of my own too that I met at uni away from him, but he didn't like when I hung out with them alone, so they've probably moved on now. Comment 2, what happened when you confronted him? OP, he had a guilty look the whole time. He did apologize, although I didn't feel inclined to accept it. He cared more about me taking our son away from him than anything else. Which I guess is good. We're working on a custody arrangement and still figuring a few things out. I would have liked him to care a bit more about me because I spent 13 years of my life with him, but it does make it easier to move on. I'm just hoping that everything works out okay, and I'm glad he still wants to be present in our son's life. He didn't fight for me, but he did apologize. He looked pretty guilty when I pointed out he was out with another woman while I tried my hardest dealing with PPD and a newborn. But other than that, he made it clear he wants to spend time with our son, which I guess is respectable. We're working on a custody arrangement, but he's being pretty fair to me. I guess he really does feel guilty because he's open to giving me what I want. I'm really glad OP decided to divorce him. So many people don't want to have their kids grow up in a broken home, but have such toxic marriages as an example to their kids of what marriages are supposed to be like. Also, OP, let your friends help you. If they are offering, take them up on it. Anyway, that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.